What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. And today we're going to be reviewing Six Flags Over Texas, which is located in Arlington, Texas, about 3 hours from Texarkana and about 4 hours from San Antonio, Texas. Um, this is the original Six Flags Park, opened roughly a little under, well, pretty much about 61 years ago. This park opened, brought a lot of really cool things to the amusement park scene at the time. But today we're going to be reviewing the park as a whole, giving our thoughts and everything on it. If you like the content and you want to see more content like this, go ahead and hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications. You want to help support the channel even further, and especially by supporting this video, go ahead and smash that thumbs up button. All right, so Six Flags Over Texas is probably the best overall park in that area. Well, since it's really the only park in the like Arlington, Dallas area type of thing, unless you consider water parks, another video. But there are two Six Flags parks in the state of Texas: Six Flags Over Texas and Six Flags Fiesta Texas. Six Flags Over Texas is definitely a more broad, spread out type of environment. It has more rides. They're spread out more, so the place looks bigger. So if you want to go from one ride to the other and they happen to be on the other side of the park, you're going to have a hell of a hike. Compared to Six Flags Fiesta Texas, you want to ride something that's on the other side of the park, 10, 15 minutes tops, you're there, because you can just cut through the middle of the park. But not so much here at Over Texas. Let's talk about the ride selections here. Let's go ahead and get the thing that everybody wants to know about first is, the rides, probably we'll start with the worst. Judge Roy Scream. And I know some people in the comments are going to say, Judge Roy Scream, it's a classic. But man, this thing is equivalent of getting beat with a baseball bat. Like if you're a coaster enthusiast and you ride this, man, you're equivalent to having to go see a chiropractor after this thing. And it doesn't matter where you ride it. If you ride in the front, in the middle, the back, this thing is freaking rough. Like 100% rough. I feel like if they retract it, the ride would be a lot smoother. And if the ride was a lot smoother, maybe it would be a little bit better. But it's equivalent to Arkansas Twister at Magic Springs and Crystal Falls. Pretty much right around the same height, same out and back coaster with a few camel hills. Nothing too crazy. If you're just got a child or an adult that's just starting to ride roller coasters, this is a great first coaster for them. If they get scared to crap and they start freaking out on this ride, then you probably shouldn't take them on Texas Giant. Just so you know. All right, so we're going to leave that area. We're going to head over into the Gotham area, and we have a kid ride first. As you walk in to the left side of Gotham, you'll see the Bat Wings. These are the little bitty airplane rides for toddlers and kids. There's no height requirement on this ride as long as you're with an adult. I don't think adults can ride by themselves. I think they can. I can't remember right offhand because I never want to ride it by myself. So why would I look into it? So, but it's definitely something to look into if you've got smaller children wanting to bring them to the park. And then if we go over, we're going to be looking at Batman the Ride. You can see it as Batman the Ride, one, because of the Batman the Ride sign, and two, because they've got the big old Batmobile right dead in the center of this whole entire area. Asher loves coming here, and he loves running and seeing the Batman car. He wants to slide through the little fence to try to touch it, but his little big head won't fit. So Batman the Ride is a B&M SLC. Just about every park within the chain, not just Six Flags, but just other parks around the world have one of these. SeaWorld Orlando has one. SeaWorld San Antonio has one. Magic Springs Crystal Falls has one. It's not a B&M, but it's kind of a similar SLC layout type of thing made by Vekoma. The thing that I like about this ride is the smoothness for one. This ride is really smooth. And if you can get different ride experiences based on where you ride in the train. So let's say you're looking for speed, then you want to ride towards the front of the train. If you're just looking, well, this is my first time riding, I'm really nervous about it, ride it in the middle. It's probably about a good mellow ride there. If you want a little bit of both, you want, fast and, little bit of intensity, not a whole lot of intensity, but just a little bit of intensity, I'd recommend riding this thing in the back. I love riding this thing in the back and in the front. I really try to stay away from the middle because I'm all about high intensity rides. So I try to, get the most out of it. So that's why I always ride it towards the front and the back. Speaking of high intensity rides, let's look right next door to Batman the Ride, and we have one of my favorite rides in the park, Mr. Freeze Reverse Blast. This thing is a monster, bro. Like, this thing rips from start to finish. It's a closed circuit ride, so nothing too crazy. It's got a hi-hat, a few inversions, and a 218-foot vertical spike. This thing is amazing. It's a reverse launch coaster. Goes 0 to 70 in about 3.6 seconds. Great ride. The lines for this ride get insane in the summertime. So if you're looking for some really, really high intensity rides, I would definitely recommend checking out Freeze. If you're going and there's going to be a packed day, this would be the first thing I would hit before the lines get too long. Because the lines on 3 rides at the park, one is Freeze, Texas Giant. I can't really say Titan. I was going to say Titan, but I can't really say Titan. I'm sorry, I can't. But it's Freeze and Giant are the 2 rides that have the most insane lines. I've seen Freeze all the way outside the freaking station. And anybody that's ever rode Freeze know that queue line is long. So that sucker, if it's all the way outside the station, you might as well just keep on trucking because you're looking at least a 2-hour wait for a 45-second ride. So, but believe me, the 45-second ride is completely worth it. It slaps. If you have skip the lines and flash pass, you're good then. Just grab you one for these because this thing is amazing. Like I said, one of my favorite rides, probably the most intense ride in the entire park. Probably one of the most, oh no, I can't say that. That's a different video. But it's pretty intense and it's really good. If you're just starting out and you want to, try it out, give it a shot. It could either make you or break you from roller coasters, that's for sure. It's kind of something that's definitely not a bucket list thing, but definitely one of my favorites. All right, moving on. And the closest next roller coaster we're going to be looking at is a family coaster. It's called Pandemonium. Pandemonium is right there across from Justice League. The lines for this ride get pretty insane too. I don't know what it is about this ride that make the lines get long. I think I ride this ride maybe once every now and then when I come in. Like if I'm bringing somebody with me and they want to ride it, I'll sit there and I'll ride it with them. If I'm dating someone or going on a date and I'm bringing them to the park, I'll take them on that ride just so I can scare the crap out of them because it spins a lot. And not a lot of people like a lot of spin rides. A lot of people like roller coasters, high intense thrills, but a lot of people don't like spinning. This is a mellow ride. It doesn't really spin all too much. If you have motion sickness, I would definitely not want to ride this one because you'll probably get or vertigo or something like that. I'd really caution riding it because it could make you really, really nauseous. The best way to ride this is with 2 riders. And this is why I say this. I said because you can put 1 rider on the far left side and then you sit on the far right side. It's going to off balance the weight of the train. And when you get ready to go through all those spins, they make them just a little bit intense. And when you get to pick up a little bit extra speed. If you have 3 people, it's even better because you could put 2 people on one side, 1 person on the other, and it just makes the ride that much more fun. It probably sucks for them if they don't like spinning or whatever, or if they're a little kid and trying it because this is a family coaster, but definitely overall really, really fun. Moving on, we've got the first indoor coaster of our video is Justice League. This is a 4K shooting ride. Now, the last time we went to the park, they were out of glasses. So I really don't know who has any 3D glasses on standby, but just keep that in mind. But this ride is indoors. It's pretty well. It's cooler than it is outside. Let me just say that. It's not fully AC like Pirates of the new Pirates ride or anything, but it's cooler than it is outside. So if you want a break from the heat in the middle of the summer or whatever, because anybody that knows, it gets really, really hot in the summer. I think this is a good place to cool off and then get you a nice little ride in. And then you can kind of see who gets the highest score. shooting all this stuff. It's really fun, really great for kids. There is a height requirement of 38 inches, actually 40 inches for this ride. So if you have children that are small that love superheroes, you can always take them into this and let them experience the queue line. Or if you're going to use a skip a line, you can always let them in and see the big screen and the big animatronics right there at the beginning. Still really good for them. We take Asher in here all the time. He loves superheroes, so he loves looking at this thing. Moving on from there, we're going to talk about probably one of the second worst coasters in the park. It's Levelbora. I know I'm going to get a lot of hate because people are just like, there's so many Levelbora lovers out there. And I'm going to tell you right now, they love this ride. And the ride for this line also gets really, really long. So just putting that out there. They do have a single rider line for this one as well. It's at the entrance of the Flash Pass. So definitely something worth thinking into if you're just trying to go check it out by yourself rather than wait in an insane line. Just go to the Flash Pass, tell them you're a single rider, so you'll be able to get onto the ride a lot faster. I will warn you though, if you're built like me, going on this ride is probably going to hurt your butt just a little bit, okay? Because when you're going down the hills and you're making the turns, you come out of your seat and you kind of get slammed down into it. So if you don't have a little butt and you're like me and you ain't got no butt, it's going to hurt you. So I mean, it's not like serious injury or anything. It's just going to be like, oh crap, that hurt. So me, when I ride it with somebody because they're new to it, what I'll do is I know when the air time's going to come up and I just brace myself up instead of letting myself go down. I've kind of learned to do that, but you'll find out once you ride it. It's definitely good for the credit and moving on, but it's not overall a bad ride. Right next to it, we have the log flume and the looping coaster, Diablo. The log ride is pretty straightforward. I mean, it's a log ride. At Six Flags Over Texas, there is no height requirement. So if you have babies and small children, you can put them in your lap when you're riding this. I think it's a really good experience for them. If you want to get them used to coasters or just, see if you can scare the crap out of them. I take Asher on this thing every time we go to the park. He's scared of it, so that's why I take him on it, But the more he gets on it, the less scared he is of it. So that's the biggest thing. The El Diablo is like a Ring of Fire at Six Flags Fiesta Texas, or like any other carnival looping coaster. It just goes round and round, except this one is bigger and faster. I've ridden this thing one time because I'm not a big fan of these rides. I don't consider it to be a roller coaster. I consider it to be a flat ride. Because even though it has a track and it's going round and round, there's no layout. There's just, to me, it seems like a flat ride because there are these rides at carnivals and stuff like that. But it was worth noting since it's pretty obvious that it's there because you can see it, especially at night. It lights up really, really well. Looks really cool. The light package on it's really badass. So, moving up from there, let's talk about the mine trains. We've got two mine trains. We've got Runaway Mine Train and Mini Mine Train. I don't have any footage for these rides because the way the rides are kind of made up, it's kind of hard to get footage for it without getting kicked out of the park. So, Runaway Mine Train is one of the original mine trains. It's a great ride, great for kids. I took Asher's little brother on it. He absolutely loved it, and this kid is scared of a running leaf. All right, so if he'll like it, then I guarantee you children that are tall enough to be able to ride it should be just fine. Mini Mine Train has a 36-inch height requirement. We took Asher on it. He enjoys it. He likes it because it's fast. It's fast, fast, fast. He says it's fast, so he enjoys that. What are some other coasters? Oh, yeah. We almost forgot about the biggest and tallest ride in the Gotham area. As we look at Riddler's Revenge, it is the park's pendulum ride. This thing, if you have a problem with being nauseous from spinning, this ride, just be aware. Okay, I'm not saying you shouldn't ride it. You should ride it at least once. But I don't ride these rides because I rode this one and Joker at Six Flags Fiesta Texas. They're pretty much the same ride. The one Joker at Six Flags Fiesta Texas is considerably a bit higher than the one at Six Flags Over Texas. But they both pretty much do the same thing. And they both did the same thing to me that made me really nauseous. So I don't ride them. But these things attract a lot of attention because they're big, high thrills. Definitely worth checking out. Definitely not as intense as Mr. Freeze, but it's up there on the ladder. Right behind there, we've got two more rides, in the villain area, we've got Joker, the SNS free spin ride. I hate this ride. I don't like these SNS free spins. I'm just going to be honest with you. But from an unbiased opinion, uh, teenagers and kids love this thing. When I took my baby sister there, she loved it. She had a great time riding it. Um, I only rode it for her, so that's the only time I'll ever ride it. If somebody wants me to ride it with them, and then I'll ride it. And then right behind there is Harley Quinn Spin Sanity. Uh, this thing is kind of up in the air as to when this thing was going to run, so kind of keep that in mind because it just depends on, they don't like to run this thing if they don't have enough people, straight up. All right, now let's talk about the last three coasters of the park. The last three coasters of the park are going to be Shockwave. This is a Schwarzkopf double looping coaster. This thing was built in the 1970s. I'm going to tell you right now, this thing is still smooth as a baby's butt. Let me tell you, this thing is smooth. It's great. Definitely a backseat ride. If you like airtime, ride this sucker in the back. I'll tell you right now, you'll get lots of airtime. Not a ton of airtime, but man, the smoothness and the airtime on this ride is just completely phenomenal. It's a great ride. If you're worried about riding this ride because of, going upside down with lap bars, believe me, I will say one word to you: gravity. 3.9 G's on those double loops. You're not going anywhere in that seat. Even if you didn't have the lap bar and a seatbelt, you would still stay in your seat. 100%. That's how high gravity is. And you can feel it when you're going on those loops, believe me. So if you have sinus problems, take a ride on Shockwave. It'll loosen them sinuses right up. All right. The last two coasters is New Texas Giant, the original RMC. One of the premier rides in the park. When you think about Six Flags Over Texas, you think about New Texas Giant, or just original Texas Giant, the rough one, the one that, made you need back surgery, equivalent to the Rattler at Six Flags Fiesta Texas. Yeah, that one. Really great ride, really smooth ride. At some point, I feel like they really should work on the retracking this ride or kind of cleaning up the tracks, because the tracks are tend to be a little bit old. It's been a long time since I've actually done anything to them. The ride is still smooth and great. The only downside to the ride is it's really high pace, fast pace for about 75% of the ride, and then the last 25% of the ride is kind of like a meh, because you're kind of like, oh man, we had all this fun and now we're just going through tunnels and making little bitty turns. So nothing too crazy at the end of it, but overall, still a great ride. I know what you're going to do. You're watching this video, you're going to go wait in 2 hours in line so you can ride Texas Giant, because it's a great ride. You've heard a lot of good things about it. Trust me, it's a great ride, worth waiting in line for. The only hypercoaster in the state of Texas, the Titan. The Titan is a similar clone to Six Flags Magic Mountain's Goliath. The only difference between the two is Six Flags Over Texas added a double helix into this layout. Now, when you hear double helix, don't take this double helix for granted. I'm gonna tell you right now, this thing will mess you up if you're not used to high gravity. People gray out. I've grayed out on this ride. The very first time I rode it, we go on the double helix, and what it means is everything went really, really bright. And then as you come to the mid-course break, which is the only bad part about this ride, is the mid-course break. Is after the double helix, you get a mid-course break where the train comes to an absolute stop. And that is the only bad thing about this ride. You get all the intensity, and then you just like buzzkill, and then you slowly drift down towards the end, and then you start making your way towards the second part of the ride. But overall, a great ride. Not really a scary ride. The drop kind of meh. Not really all that bad, but overall, it's a really great ride. Definitely worth checking out. They have really great photo opportunities on this one and Texas Giants, so definitely check those two out. The photo layout for Titan is really, really badass, so I'll post a picture up so you guys can see it. Really cool. Definitely worth checking out. So yeah, so now that we talked about all the roller coaster stuff, let's move over to another important section, and that is Bugs Bunny Boomtown. Bugs Bunny Boomtown is the kid area. If you have smaller kids, this park is great for kids, let me tell you. But I'll give you a little bit of advice. When you go into Bugs Bunny Boomtown, you'll see Speedy Gonzales on the right, and you'll see a little playground on the left. In the summertime, just be aware that if your kids are wearing shorts, that those they've got no protection from the sun. So those slides are going to be just a little bit hot. So make sure you make your kid aware of that. Then when you go into the actual Bugs Bunny Boomtown, you're going to go over a little bridge, and you'll see teacups and a Ferris wheel. You'll see a kiddie coaster. You'll see a drop tower. You'll see Marvin Martian spaceships, and right behind it, you'll see the Taz swings. Great area. If you have a family of kids, it's a great place to be. But I should warn you that if you go anywhere, if you go into that area between the hours of opening and about 3 p.m., you're going to be waiting in line for a very long time. Every time we go to the park, we go and we do other stuff around the park, and that's the last thing we hit. We go about 2 hours prior to the park closing, and it's literally empty. So everything is a walk-on. Asher can ride as much as he wants. When we went there this past weekend, he rode like 15 different rides. He rode like the teacups like 5 times. He rode the Marvin Martian ships like 4 times. He rode the drop. So trust me, go towards the end of the day when normal people are taking their kids home so they can start getting them ready to go to bed and stuff like that. And if you want to just stomach it out, your kid will have so much more fun doing it at the end of the day because they can ride a whole lot more. And the lines aren't that long. But be aware that there is a 36-inch height requirement on all the teacups, Marvin Martian, and the kiddie coaster. 36 inches. The teacups is a kid only. Marvin Martians is also kid only. But you can ride with your 36-inch tall toddler on the kiddie coaster if they're into that sort of thing. We rode it with Asher a couple of times. He did pretty good. You know, he doesn't want to ride it again, but he did pretty good. I thought he did. So definitely worth checking out. Like I said earlier, there are only really a couple of photo opportunities in the as far as ride photos. That's Titan and Giant. That's it. There's not one on Freeze. I really think they should put one on Freeze at the end of the tunnel of the launch. I feel like it'd be really, really cool. And I know Goliath has one at Six Flags Fiesta Texas, so there should be no reason why Batman the Ride shouldn't have one at Six Flags over Texas. You know, and I also feel like Shockwave should get one. You know, right after the drop, but it is what it is. Overall, this is a great park. We come to this park quite often. Like when I'm going to take a trip with Asher, I always bring him here to this park because I know he's going to have so much fun. He's going to love it. So that's why I bring him there. When I'm going on a trip by myself, well, I go to San Antonio. You know, get burned out after a while. But man, that's it, man. This park overall, great review of this park. Beautiful park, very upkept, very clean. The new park president doing a really great job of keeping the park clean and adding a little bit of freshness to the park here and there. So doing such a great job. We did have a new ride open just here recently. I can't ever say it right. The damn Pirate Spelunker Caves. You guys know what I'm talking about. This ride is in the AC. Great ride. Fun for kids. Unless, just be aware that the first half of the ride is dark and it's got a lot of booms and a lot of jump scares. And if your kids are afraid of clowns, there is a clown in there, so just be aware of that. Trust me, I got a bite mark on my chest where my son got scared and he bit me, okay? It's a very real thing. Some kids are really scared of clowns. But the second half of the ride is fun. It's really cute, colorful, good music to it, so definitely worth checking out. All right, man, that's going to do it for us here. Thank you guys so much for watching. And again, let me know in the comments down below. What do you guys think about experiences at Six Flags Over Texas? What do you think about the rides? Sound off in the comments down below. If you want to help support the video anymore, which I would be very much appreciative, go ahead and smash that thumbs up button, man. Thank you so much for watching, and we will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.